Exactly. Hey, didn't you feel some like homoerotic tension between the two at points?
No, I don't think everything has to be gay.
I okay, then in a very serious note, I'm not being funny. Did you feel homoerotic tension between Billy Zane and Val Kilmer?
I felt homoerotic tension between Billy Zane and everybody.
Okay, I mean that's fair.
I finally
Watched.
I finally
Watched.
I
finally
watched. I
finally
watched.
I finally
Watched.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon, and I finally watched Tombstone. You know, David, I feel like we've been doing a lot of movies that I finally watched. When is it your turn?
I don't know, you have bad taste in movies, so we're trying to do good.
Maybe you just seen too many movies.
I don't know. I
Hmm.
think you were like, let's do good movies for this next couple months, and so that just means that we
Popular
have.
movies, popular movies.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what it is. So I saw this one a little bit late in life. I think I was an adult at the time, and
Ooh.
I what the fuck was that? And I immediately loved it and sort of was like, why did it take me so long to watch this? I don't consider myself like a big Western guy. And I
Yeah.
know you and I had talked. I think we were going to do Unforgiven, and then they just released the 4K of this. Val Kilmer recently passed away, and I wanted to
Actually,
do.
I have that we were gonna do Unforgiven and Tombstone like back to back.
I don't know how you fit that into your little gay little calendar that you have
It's not
because
gay. It's bisexual calendar. Thank you very much.
it's more feminine than gay. So yeah, apologies to the community.
It has some
But
femme traits. Yeah.
but I think that I didn't prepare you for this, and I don't know that we have to have a long discussion. I think that Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday is the best character ever in a movie. Like I love that character that much.
It is a great it is a great character. It's definitely one of his best, if not the best character he's ever played. I don't know if it's the best character ever in a movie, but I think the amount of like I don't know anything about the real Doc Holliday, right? I don't think anyone does. I hear like getting an actual picture of the real Doc Holliday is actually really hard to find. So much so that if you visit the actual town of Tombstone, I think it's in Arizona, all of the publicity, like they'll be like, oh, Wyatt Earp walked here, Doc Holliday shit here, Ringo, whatever here. All of the photos that they have in the actual town of quote unquote Doc Holliday is Val Kilmer.
It's because he is fucking Doc Holliday.
Right,
There's
right, right.
there's been other attempts, but
But so in saying that though, it's like I don't know anything about the real Doc Holliday, but the charm that Val Kilmer, like he puts himself in the role so much that it's like he's a really likable character, but he's also like you just want to be as cool as Doc Holliday.
well, I mean he's dying the entire movie, so I don't know if you want to be as cool.
I don't know, like there's nothing cooler than a dead body.
So literally, I I think that the little bit we know, there's these. I can't remember if it's something I read or if I think it's like quoted at the end of the movie where it's like because Wyatt Earp writes that little book about my friend Doc Holliday,
And that's
and
a real
it's
book.
something along the line. Of course, it is. This movie is actually obviously all movies have to take some liberties. This movie is actually fairly like factually accurate. But he says this thing of like, he was my friend. He was a dentist. He wasn't a lawman. He was a gambler. He was killed by consumption. But he's also the deadliest shot I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
So it's just this dude who just happened to be really good at something, shooting, and like had the fastest draw. But he was just like, I just did other things, and I also like to gamble and drink and have sex with women. So it's just it's such an interesting character, and then to have this sort of dramatic twist where he's putting on this sort of accent, this affectation, this southern gentleman thing that he's got going, it just sort of I don't know. It's such a memorable character. There's so many amazing lines.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that I read about the movie before, like, and this is the first time that I had seen this, is obviously I knew about the issues with the director. So the guy that wrote the screenplay was originally directing this. He got kicked off, and then George uh, Cosmato,
We've done a movie of his.
we have Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Rambo vs. One Part 2, yeah.
His like, so I haven't seen his stuff from the 70s. And then he does Of Unknown Origin, which I've at least heard of, Rambo Part 2, Cobra, Leviathan, Tombstone, and then he gets to do one movie after this and never work again. And he passed in 2005, I think.
What's interesting about this though is that he only had 2 days of prep time to like get this movie done, and Val Kilmer was on the record. He says, I'll just quote him. He says, "I Kurt Russell, Kurt, is solely responsible for Tombstone's success, no question. I watched him sacrifice his own role and energy to devote himself as a storyteller, even going so far as to draw up shot lists to help our replacement director, George Cosmatos, who came in with only 2 days of prep time."
Yeah, so somebody that was considered to take over the role was John McTiernan of Die Hard fame, of Predator
Uh-huh.
fame,
Yeah.
of The Hunt for Red October. But apparently his offer was rescinded because he wanted 2 weeks to like shut down production, and so he could study what film they had already and sort of plan everything out. And they're like, no, we don't want that. We need someone to just move on immediately. And
Can you like what do you think it would be like for you as an actor on that movie? Like say you're like Thomas Hayden Church or like Bill Paxton. Like you have a big role, but it's not like the lead, right? And then all of a sudden, Kurt Russell, who's your lead guy, is basically directing the movie at some point.
so when Kevin Jari was fired, Kurt Russell started rewriting the script. And so there's this quote from Sam Elliott where they kind of, he didn't like what became of the movie. And a lot of the people on it didn't like what became of the movie because Kurt Russell sort of rewrote it to where him and Doc Holliday and Val Kilmer got all of like the great lines. It became mostly about them. The original script was supposed to be kind of an epic movie, a lot longer, a lot more about everyone in the town.
And
Probably
mostly like centering around the OK Corral shootout, right?
no, and probably more nuanced because from reading up on it, Wyatt Earp was a more nuanced character. So what's interesting is the Jason Priestley character. Actually, Billy Breckenridge wrote a memoir about Tombstone called Hell Dorado, where he said that Wyatt Earp was a thief, a pimp, a crooked gambler, and a murderer, and which sort of is a little bit in the movie. The fact that
One of the actors in the movie was like defamation against one of the characters in the movie.
what do you mean? Are you
You're
misunderstanding what I said?
maybe I did.
Jason Priestley is playing Billy Breckenridge, a real person. Billy Breckenridge in 1928 published his memoir about Tombstone.
Oh, I thought you said the actor did.
No,
You're
no,
saying the
no.
real person who he played the character.
Yes, that is
Like,
what I just said.
wow, that's
And
confusing.
so he he called Wyatt Earp a thief, a pimp, a crooked gambler, and a murderer. And Wyatt Earp, what's funny, Wyatt Earp in his later life sort of had this Hollywood, career where he like worked with people. He worked with John Wayne. John Wayne like based his like a lot of his cowboyness on Wyatt Earp. And so he, denied it to his death that this has happened. I just did a little like AI Google question. Like I was like, is Wyatt Earp a good guy? And there was like the for and against. I was like, oh, okay. Like the against was kind of minimal. Because for you to think that Wyatt Earp was like a bad guy, you'd have to be like, all right, the Cowboys were the good guys. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think you can like get that far.
He always like in the movie seemed in the morally gray area
Exactly.
where
the movie deals with the nuance of him being that, right? Because he's like, I don't want to be a lawman anymore. I want to make money by stealing money from gamblers, right? Like,
Right. But then again, it's a Hollywood movie where you have to root for someone. And you root and you root for Doc Holliday, of course. You know what's interesting about this is that originally it wasn't going to be Kurt Russell, it was going to be Kevin Costner to play Wyatt Earp. And then what happened was Kevin Costner wanted it to be like a basically a
well, he was going
bio.
to do a mini series.
Oh no, that's not what I heard. I heard that he wanted it to be like a biopic on Wyatt Earp from childhood to his death. And the writer was like, no, this is going to be more of an ensemble. This is going to be more of like OK Corral when he's like retired, blah blah blah. And Kevin Costner was like, fuck that shit. I hear about another movie being made called Wyatt Earp. That's way more what I want to be in. So the year after Tombstone was made, a movie called Wyatt Earp was made starring Kevin Costner.
They're
And
made the, they're made at the same time.
yeah, but it came out a year later.
It
And then
did.
it was and it that is like more of a biopic about Wyatt Earp. Do you know who played Doc Holliday in that movie?
No, I read it, but I didn't.
It's Dennis Quaid.
That's right. Yeah. So it was supposed to be a mini series because it was so much longer. What's funny to me is because one of the things I read, it was like, oh, Tombstone was so successful financially and like critically, but actually, it was kind of middling. Like
Yep,
it has
yep.
like it's like its Metascore is like in the 50s. People are like, oh, this is done before. But then when you look at like IMDb reviews, people love this movie. Like I love this movie, and it is kind of interesting to have something like this sort of be, a little bit like divisive between like critics and like the people like that. So I do want to read a couple like there's a bunch more like surround the before we get into this I want to talk about the different people like how they view this. So Sam Elliott obviously was pissed about like how much of his stuff was taken out because he was going to have a much bigger role. I think someone asked him like, oh, why weren't you Wyatt Earp, and he kind of just like you know basically he like if he realized what was going to happen in this movie, he wouldn't have been in it to be just a guy who has like 4 or 5 lines, right?
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, even though he is kind of the most moral character in the movie.
That and like I really like these guys. Like I like the brothers. I'm rooting for the whole Earp family through the thing. I never really thought that it was like more so oh Sam Elliott's in this small part because I felt like a strong presence of all of them, if that makes sense.
But when you watch the movie after hearing this, that like a lot of the other characters were cut, you do kind of realize you're like there are so many kind of big names who are like, or not big names, but just at least people you recognize, like solid actors. Like you said, Thomas Hayden Church is in this. You have the guy from Northern Exposure as a cowboy.
You have Billy Bob Thornton in like the smallest role I've ever seen him in.
Yeah, right. So then you have Stephen Lang in like a decently small role. Powers Booth, who plays Curly Bill, like I think he's an amazing bad guy in this, but you're not really getting a ton from him.
Yeah, but he's
Like
like the main bad guy.
he is, but then his death, which is apparently very accurate, is like almost like inconsequential to the Johnny Ringo death, which apparently is not accurate, which it kind of sucks because it's amazing.
It's amazing, and you know what? It's like whatever. I don't care. It works so well in the movie, and that reveal that I didn't know about that. Right, like after all these years, how have I not heard about this? Maybe I have, but it was like inconsequential to me at the time I hear about it, completely forgetting that while I'm watching it. So when it turns out to be Doc Holliday, I was like, oh, that's some fucking cool shit. But when it comes down to like the OK Corral gunfight, I was like, oh, this is the climax of the movie. The movie is about to end. That's weird that there's 40 more minutes of the movie, right? And the fact that basically from then on out, the movie is basically a revenge story. I think that's so cool where, and not in a bad way, this movie feels like two movies put together.
The other thing is there was this Michael Bean was quoted on one of your favorite podcasts, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum,
Uh,
where he had some animosity with the director because he said he treated the extras and people as he saw beneath him with contempt, while sucking up to anyone above him. The people above him probably being like Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer, right? Like just doing whatever they told him to. It's just it's so interesting because you have all this, you have all these people who are seemingly like kind of unhappy with the experience, and you have Kurt Russell coming in and being like, "No, this is the story. This is the way it's going to be. I'm getting all the good lines." There's apparently some other like kind of bigger characters who sort of got cut out of it, and he was kind of like, fuck those guys. But here's at the end of the day, this is an amazing movie, and so it's like, how much can you fault someone when what we ended up with is
It's a good
Tombstone,
movie. Yeah, yeah.
is
I
a
mean,
great movie.
the other thing too, and I'm not saying anything bad about any of the other actors, but the dynamic between Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer and their characters are so interesting and so just like capturing your attention that why not? Like why wouldn't the story be revolved around them? And obviously more so Kurt Russell's Wyatt Earp, because Doc Holliday dies like, 10, 15 minutes before the movie ends, and then it continues with like, oh, kind of this like epilogue about how long Wyatt Earp lives for, and his love for this woman of the theater. And I think that part is so interesting because it's like, yes, he left his wife for this woman that he just met, and so it paints him as a womanizer, but the movie doesn't let you believe that that's a bad thing for a second. That's like, yeah, they were meant to be together. You don't understand.
Yeah, so there's this one quote, I'm reading this straight from IMDb, but it's, you know, a lot of them thought that the movie turned into like the Kurt and Val show. And so you have Sam Elliott and Bill Paxton had a lot more lines, a lot more to do. And then there's this whole story about one of the producers on there named James Jacks, who was friends and like helped produce the movie with the writer who was fired from directing. And so James Jack was like upset with the script, and he's like, what about all these other people in the film? And apparently Russell had this line of like, well, Rooker pissed me off. Rooker, who plays McAllister, he's like probably most famously now is like the blue guy in the Guardians of,
Yondu, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He's like, Rooker pissed me
Or
off.
Merle from Walking Dead.
Yeah, Buck Taylor is a has been, and nobody knows Shariko. It So there's that part of it, right? And we keep going back and forth. I think it's a lot of details, but I think it's funny. So James Jacks was the producer when the writer was on the movie. The writer gets fired, right? So then the writer's girlfriend, who was supposed to star in the movie, she gets fired. Another person gets fired, and then James Jack, who was quoted as like, "Yeah, I never thought I was going to get fired. I didn't, I thought I was pretty safe." And then it turns out other people had to convince the financiers and the executive producers to not fire him. It was Andrew Vajna. They were going to fire him, but then several of the actors told Vajna that they would have trouble getting them out of their trailers if they fired Jax, because he was like the only one who was like kind of keeping the peace between everyone.
And what was he on the movie?
He was a producer, but he had just been there the whole
Okay.
time.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So he was just one of those well-liked producers
And
that
I think also, like, you have Kurt Russell in this. He has all this power. I guess he wasn't getting along too well with the writer director in the beginning. The writer never got another chance to direct anything. He's written some great stuff, but he never got the chance to direct anything else as of this.
what's interesting is, in doing my research for this, I came across a few Kurt Russell interviews about Tombstone, like recently,
Yeah.
and he looks back very, very fondly on this movie. He even said, like in one of his interviews, he's like, "There's a lot of really great westerns, but name one western that's more quotable than Tombstone." And he's
I
like, I bet you can't.
I actually like, yeah, there are other like more famous lines, but there's like 1,000 of them in this movie.
Exactly. And I love that he like looks back fondly on this, knowing what you said. He's like, yeah, this movie is so quotable. All of my lines.
Well, I think a lot of people would probably look back on this and be like, even people that worked on it that maybe weren't unhappy at the time, they'd be like, "No, you what came out of this was a great fucking movie."
Sure, sure. And I think, and here's my gripe with it, right? Is that the cinematography is great. I won't talk about the directing because we all know how that went. But I think what really makes this movie is the acting. More so than the writing. I think the characters and the actors specifically for these characters brought to life like beyond the writing of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are some kind of decisions in the movie where it's like, oh, you have just like there's two separate montages of just killing really important characters, and you're like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, like guys that we've
Yeah,
seen
but I
that are
mean,
just like,
doesn't it make you feel like in the West that murder was inconsequential? Like it didn't even matter
yeah, I
at
don't,
points of like people just died all the time.
I guess, but I mean, I think I kind of already knew that, but it is like I don't know. You have these characters who are like bad guys. I mean, they do a pretty good job of building up some of the main. You know, they got the OK
Of
Corral,
course, yeah.
you got Curly, and then you got Ringo. So those are good. But I just found it funny that you have two separate like montages are usually like not reserved for like we're just gonna kill 20 cowboys
I
in
loved
this
it.
section. They're
I
great.
loved
Like
it.
the score was great as it was going. I think I think we should start. And so this is like the first time that I had really like thought about this. And you have some narration at the beginning. You have Sam Elliott in your movie and you're not going to let him do the narration for your western.
I mean, what's he gonna be like? He's like, before I got shot and lost use of my arm. This is the story of how that happened.
Oh, you don't even need to have him. It doesn't have to be like that. You could just have him read it as like a separate character. I mean, like, but he's just
Yeah, but
got,
the narration isn't like throughout this whole movie. It's a little bit in the beginning, a little bit at the end.
it's just a way to wasted opportunity. Now, the narration is done by Robert Mitchum, obviously famous.
You're gonna shit on Mitchum.
I'm not going to shit on Mitchum. He actually
Mhm.
died only 4 years after this, but he got injured. He was supposed to be so Lang and Thomas Hayden Church are brothers. They're the Clanton brothers. Mitchum was supposed to play their father, another
Oh,
Clanton. I think had a horse injury, and they were going to replace him, and then they decided just to cut the part. So to let him still be in the movie, they let him do the narration. So when I first heard the narration, I was like, it reminded me of sometimes you'll have trailers and you're like, should I watch this trailer? Does the director want me to watch this trailer? Like the narration is here to set up. This is what you need to know going into the movie, and I'm like, it probably saves us like a good amount of exposition to just be like, hey, this is where we're at in the story. Wyatt Earp's got like a long life. He was a lawman before this, and like here's the part of the story we're in. Just and I think it's kind of effective. I like it
I
in this
liked it,
narrative.
and I think it also really hones in on the fact that this is a true story.
Right. So then the next opening scene is establishing how bad our bad guys are, which is them murdering an entire town during a wedding and then presumably taking a bride off to have their way with her.
I love this scene because it makes us like as the audience like it makes us as the audience whatever happens to the cowboy gang from here on out, we don't care.
Right.
Like anything can happen to them, and we're like rooting for bad shit to happen to these guys.
And the line go to hell and then you first as he shoots the husband. So great.
Is
You
that did that become famous in this movie?
go to hell you first?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's great though. So Rooker, who plays McAllister, doesn't look happy. In real life, McAllister was a Texas Ranger who they think helped Curly Joe escape from jail, or someone in the Cowboys escape from jail, and then join the Cowboys. And then later on, joined up with Wyatt Earp. And then there's some thought that he might have been undercover with the Cowboys to like infiltrate them and help take them down.
The guy who kind of keeps getting shit on throughout the movie.
No, Yandu,
Oh, Rooker.
Rooker, yeah, who plays McAllister.
Xanadu. You okay.
So By the way, Curly Bill says that they killed 2 cowboys, and this was based off a true story. So, they killed, the father Clanton, which
His
is the
name.
part they cut off.
Oh, okay. His name's Curly Bill, right?
Correct.
Earlier you said Curly Joe. I think you just misspoke.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Curly, whatever. There's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
one Curly. So,
Okay.
Ringo kills the priest, and then the thing he's like, "What was he talking about?" He's like, "A pale horse, and the man who sat on him was death, and hell followed him." Obviously talking about Doc Holliday,
Is it because he was so pale and he's the pale horse?
I guess. So Wyatt Earp's riding him?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, didn't you feel some like homoerotic tension between the two at points?
No, I don't think everything has to be gay.
I okay, then in a very serious note, I'm not being funny. Did you feel homoerotic tension between Billy Zane and Val Kilmer?
I felt homoerotic tension between Billy Zane and everybody.
Okay, I mean that's fair.
I think
Including,
everyone wanted to fuck Billy Zane. Every man there was like, "Yeah, that woman, that's fine, whatever."
especially that guy, right? The I forget his name. He's like the dorky guy in glasses. That's part of the
Jason
cowboy.
Priestley,
Yeah,
Bill
him.
Breckenridge. We did a whole thing about him at the beginning
Oh,
of this.
that's who you're talking about. Okay, okay.
Did you not? I guess you're a little too young for 90210 to know who Jason Priestley is.
Yeah, I guess I am.
So we then get Wyatt Earp coming into town. He's like, "I'm here to make money." His lady has a drug problem. The way they establish that it is completely okay for Wyatt Earp to leave this lady because she's a druggie who doesn't want to do anything fun and just wants to lay in bed and do opium. They're like, it's cool.
Yeah, it's. I love later on in the scene where the theater lady goes into their house and she's like, "I know this is inappropriate, but I gotta tell you, we're in big fucking trouble." And the look that Wyatt Earp's wife gives her, like, "I know you're fucking him."
You know, so it's kind of interesting. There is a love scene that was cut from the movie when they first meet properly introduce themselves horse riding.
Oh
Apparently
yeah,
they bang afterwards on that carpet or whatever, the sheet. The rest of the movie, it is as if they did, but they didn't, in the version we
I
saw.
see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's inappropriate that I'm here. Why is it inappropriate? Like, because you guys are sharing furtive glances? Like,
Sure. I mean, it is like the glance that she gives him after the OK Corral shootout, and then his wife comes around the corner and sees them smiling at each other so endearingly. It's like, did they fuck? You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, it's implied. It's an implied fuck.
So after we meet all the Earps, we meet Doc Holliday, and he is taking all this money from this guy, and he's like, the line, "Ed, if I thought you weren't my friend, I don't think I could bear it. Just like, tell me you're my friend, or I'm gonna kill you." And then he sort of stabs the guy, but I think probably like allows him the chance to live.
I mean, he is a doctor.
That's I think, but dentist like barely counts.
He knows where to stab people so that their teeth are okay. Also, being a dentist in the wild, wild west is like being a heart surgeon in hell, right? Like, what are you
Do people have a lot of disposable income for teeth work?
also like? What kind of teeth work? Do people care at that point? I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, why are all the Earps married to bottle blondes?
They got a type.
I guess they do. Well, not really, because that the other woman's very brunette.
Yeah, it was more of like an auburn. It was like a reddish almost.
Well,
So
yeah.
we get to Tombstone, meet the sheriff, meet the marshal, meet the mayor. Everyone's like, "Hey, man, can you be?" He's like, "Shut the fuck up. I'm here to make money, and that's it."
Fuck bitches and make money.
Which
You know, oh god.
at the end, he's like, "I have no money." I was like, "Where did the money go?
Right.
You had so much money. Did he give it to his brothers?" And
It look it would be interesting if he like made all that money and then like used that money somehow to defeat the Cowboys, but you never really see that. Like he never had to pay off people to work for him or anything.
he just had a like a catapult built to fire like weaponry.
This
At
is
them.
expensive, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah. So the Billy Bob scene is like just a great start and just keeps slapping him. You got to say do something or just stand there and bleed. So amazing.
I love later he comes back with the shotgun and the sheriff comes up behind him. He's like, "What you doing there?"
Well,
And
no,
they turn around like it's no big deal. Like, yeah, just put it down and walk away.
it's like, Johnny, I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go. And he's like, thank you. Just thanks him. Can you imagine though like the real life guy who Billy Bob Thornton plays? You just have this life going all of a sudden, and then Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday just come in and beat the shit out of you, totally emasculate you, and you're like, all right, well, I got to go find something else to do with my life now.
Well, that's not even. I just find a different town, I guess. You know, like just do this same shit, but at a different town without one of these guys running it. Yeah, the part where they're coming in and he's like, I want 25% of the bar, yada yada yada. We're gonna settle down here, make a life for ourselves. I That is just kind of cool how back then you could just do that.
You just beat up some guy, and you're like, all right, 25% now.
Well, I mean that, but everything is so like in the beginnings of its establishment that you could take over a town so easily in that way. Like try from where you are going down and being like, okay, uh what, like Miami, this is my town now.
The sheriff, when he compares, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna be San Francisco next year," and Doc Holliday's like, "Yeah, so cosmopolitan." Is like a guy's killed in the background.
But okay, so the biggest piece of shit in this movie is not any of the cowboys, not Curly, not Ringo. I think the biggest piece of shit in this movie is the fucking coward sheriff.
He is very opportunistic. It is also kind of why you have like the Billy Breckenridge in real life saying like, "Oh, like we were actually the good guys and Wyatt Earp was the bad guy," which is just like they killed his brother, man. Like which side are you on? I don't know if the Billy Zane character actually exists. I guess he would have to because Josephine actually exists. By the way, your whole thought exercise earlier made me think you're like thrown back into the 1800s. Like you now, how quickly are you murdered walking into like Tombstone or some other like Western town? Like how
You
long do you survive?
when you said that, it reminded me of Back to the Future 3, where he comes in like wearing the cowboy get up, but it's like pink and blues and stuff like that. He's like, "Howdy guys!" Like, the fuck is this guy? He hands him like the dollar bill, and it's like it's like a modern dollar. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
what am I doing here? Where he's like, "I just want some ice water," and they're like, "Ice."
So the next scene, Oriental is pumping and the Cowboys come in. The way that life works to where the bad guys, the good guys, everybody just all hangs out in one area and it's just like this is how things work. There's not separate places. Everyone hangs out together is interesting. I for the last 2 to 3 days have just been saying to my wife, "Law dog, law don't go around here, law dog." Over
Wow.
and over again. She does not. She's not a fan.
When are the
She's not a
divorce
fan of
papers
it.
made?
Yeah, I don't. The judge is like, "Do you have anything to say before I finalize this?" And I'm just like, "Law don't go around here. Law don't go around here."
You know, a huge lack in this movie, now that I think about it, is because if the sheriff and the lawman are hanging out with the cowboys and the gangs, and everything is fine and dandy in like certain areas, I felt like a lot of times the way the West is presented or represented is that if you're an outlaw, you have like a warrant out for your arrest, and like a money reward comes with that. But you're telling me we didn't see a single like wanted poster or anything like that. So you're telling me that none of those people had like
Bounties.
a bounty or a cause for the sheriff or someone be like, I'm going to capture you, imprison you, and give you to the marshal so I can get $500 or something like that.
Apparently, at certain points, like Doc wasn't allowed to go back to Arizona because he was wanted for the murder of Stillwell. You know that guy that when Wyatt Earp just like pretends to be on the train. They're like, "Hey, where's Wyatt?" And he's like, "I'm right here." And he shoots that guy. That's Stillwell, and then Ike is the other guy. He's like,
Oh.
"Tell him I'm coming. I'm bringing hell with me." Like, so Doc got wanted for that murder. I
Stillwell gets away like 3 times in this movie.
not at the end though. Oh, Ike does. I can't. Yeah, Clanton. And then at the end he's just like, "I give up. I give up the red sash. I don't need it anymore."
And then did you see? I think it was like the epilogue thing, like the
No, he died 2 years later.
exactly, yeah.
He eventually dies. You're what you said earlier though did make me think. Probably something that was cut from this movie is there's a sheriff, there's a mayor, and there's a marshal. Like how those things intertwine in this town, like the desires of each, the wants of each, because we sort of don't get that. Like the sheriff wants him to join, he tells him to fuck off, but the sheriff really has his own thing going. The marshal it feels like the marshal and the mayor really kind of want what's best for the town and are just sort of dealing with the cowboys, and the sheriff is like, no, I work with these guys.
Well,
But
when the Earp brothers show Wyatt the badges, Wyatt's like disappointed in them almost. Like, you sold out. You guys are sellouts, and you don't know what you're getting into. You're gonna get yourself killed.
which very close to being true. So we meet Josephine. We have the theater scene. Just people shooting up the place
You know
in
what
the
I
middle of
wonder?
in the middle of a theater.
Hold on one second. I just want to go back to that. Is I wonder if the sheriff position is looked down upon because it is kind of more of a political seat. But the reason that the marshal position isn't looked down upon is because maybe that back then is who really enforced the law.
I don't understand from who's looking down on what. What do you mean?
Well, because didn't they become sheriffs of the town?
They become marshals.
They did become marshals, or
Yeah, the marshal died.
well, yeah, the marshal. Okay, okay, and the sheriff just stayed in place. Well, that's why I think the sheriff is more like a political head, and the marshals are the real people who like enforce the law.
I don't even know. I don't know who. I mean, they're like he's the county sheriff and they're the town. I don't understand any of it.
Okay,
So
well, maybe you didn't have to.
then the camera work as Ringo does his gun tricks. We see the gun underneath the table. It was great. And then
That was Earp's gun, right, underneath the table.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Val just totally emasculates him with the cup.
So this scene is so interesting because this is like the one scene that you really see Val Kilmer like shine through the Doc Holliday character, and it's like making it kind of his own. They say things to each other in Italian or in Latin.
Yeah.
Do you know what they said?
I read it. I mean, it didn't seem to be very important.
I think it actually is so important because I think this is the part where it really establishes each other as their rivals to each other.
You want to read all of it, don't you?
Well, it's not that long. So Doc Holliday starts off by saying, "In wine, there's truth," kind of meaning I'm drunk, but what I say has some truth to it. To which he responds with, like, keep doing what you do best. Like, keep getting drunk, keep drinking, whatever. He responds, Doc Holliday says, tell it to someone who cares. And then who
Ringo.
is it? Ringo? Oh yeah, Curly Bill Ringo. So Ringo says, youth is a teacher of fools. Basically saying like you're past your good years. Doc Holliday then ends it with rest in peace, motherfucker. I added that last part, but I felt like that's what he would have said.
I wonder how you say motherfucker in Latin.
I was just gonna I was just gonna go motherfucker.
So we have the horse scene where they ride together. The only thing I want to say is the stunt doubles look pretty good. I wasn't like, oh, that's not a dude in a wig for the woman. Like I thought
For the thing.
for the horse riding
Didn't Curly kill the mayor right before this though?
after it.
After I thought it was outside of the bar.
Yeah, but it was after them horse riding and the love making scene that didn't happen.
Oh, okay. I guess that's when we get introduced to Thomas Hayden Church, right?
right after this, yeah, he's messing with Doc at the piano, and he kind of tells him to fuck off. And then Curly comes out of the opium den. What's interesting about this is, so later on, he says, "Oh, the judge dismissed it because there's no witness." When in actuality, Curly shot him in the groin. He said that it was accidental and the gun went off. The marshal lived for 2 days and told everyone who would listen it was an accident, it was unintentional, and Curly actually did seem remorseful, which he did in this movie too. Like, he liked the marshal even though they're sort of on opposite sides, but he, like, did not intend to kill him, and so that's why he got off.
When I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt your they were good doubles on the horses. Couldn't they have been actually riding the horses themselves?
I doubt they're riding them down the hill.
Okay, well, I
That
don't know.
seems pretty fucking dangerous.
Did you notice, and this is just another Val Kilmer thing, which I will be talking a lot about him because he does such a good job as Doc Holliday. He comes out to confront Thomas Hayden Church, and he's like, "You're drunk. You're probably seeing double." And
I
then he
have
pulls
2
up two
guns.
guns, and he
I have
says,
2 guns.
"For the both of you, right?"
Yeah.
Did you realize that when he spun the guns on his fingers, he spun one gun like the opposite way of the other, and that's so hard to do, which shows that like even though he's drunk, he's like completely still like coordinated.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's just amazing stuff too. And like, I didn't even notice that, but just one, the fact that Val could do that, but two, it's just showing like, hey, even at my worst, I mean, he's dying when he kills Ringo at the end.
Like heavy tuberculosis, yeah. What did they call him? A lunder?
Lunger.
Lunger? I had to look that up, and it's just a derogatory word for people who have tuberculosis.
Yeah. Well,
And I was just like,
because
okay.
they probably cough a lot.
Uh, have you seen the SNL skit of Tombstone?
No.
It's I think it's Jake Gyllenhaal as Doc Holliday. He's like he comes out like yeah guys, I need Ringo and Curly to get out of here. And then it's like off screen he goes Achoo! And it's just a bunch of like they take like a bucket of blood and just throw it from off screen onto the two actors playing Curly and Ringo, and they're like, "Oh, come on, man." He's like, "Don't worry, I'm not contagious."
That's great.
Yeah.
So, Virgil, you can kind of tell he's getting tired of Wyatt just being about the money and turning down the mayor. So then he becomes the marshal.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You guys are making a big fucking mistake." Oh yeah, because Morgan does it too. And he's like, "I was just backing my brother's play," which like you really notice Paxton gets like very little to do in this fucking movie. It does kind of suck.
I actually was like, who is that? It was kind of hard to recognize some of those actors with the giant handlebar mustaches. And I was
Yeah.
like, who is that? And I was like, fuck, that's Bill Paxton.
Mhm.
I like, you know what I like most about Bill Paxton is like, apart from Twisters, is every time he's in a movie, he doesn't have a very big role, but his roles are small but memorable
And important. Yeah.
and important, and he does just a very good job in whatever he's given. I miss him as an actor because he was really cool and kind of just you're watching a movie and all of a sudden he's in it and you're like, oh, that's nice.
Absolutely. So next we get Doc and Ike get into it. Doc collapses, and then Ike is like talking shit about Virgil, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill all of them." And then he turns around and Virgil's just standing there, and he hits him with his gun and knocks him out and puts him in jail. Then we get the scene with the doctor with Doc Holliday telling him you have to stop drinking in the late nights and your marital impulses. And then as the doctor leaves, his wife or girl or whatever she is just like goes down on him, and he's like, she's like, "I've been a good woman to you," and he says, "Yeah, but you may be the Antichrist."
I don't know what she is. And doesn't she kind of
think she's-
disappear a little bit like at the end of the movie?
Yeah, I think she's Hungarian. I for the longest time was like, is that Lena Headley? Headley?
Oh, it does look like Lena
It
Headey.
does. It's not her though, but like I was like, is that's actually the character that the woman that got fired that was like the girlfriend of the writer. That was who she was supposed to be. And then she's like you're not it anymore.
Huh.
So then after this, they get into it with the Cowboys, and they're like, "There's going to be blood today." And Wyatt Earp's like, "Well, I guess you better fucking swear me in now." As they're walking to the OK Corral, there's just a house burning in the background.
I
Like,
didn't know there is. I didn't notice that.
it's like I don't know what that's about, but it was cool.
So, do you know where this was shot?
The movie,
Yeah.
I think it was shot in like New Mexico, Arizona area.
Was it? I wonder because when I went out to New Mexico to hang out with Shane Black for a weekend, he's shooting his
Name drop, man.
I know, he's shooting his movie or his Amazon show that never got picked up. But it was a western, and in the middle I remember being in Arizona and I needed to get to set, but all the production cars have already left, which is fine. I was not like an integral part of the movie or anything, but I wanted to be there. And my manager at the time was like, "Oh yeah, well, we'll just call an Uber. Do you mind doing that?" And I was like, "I guess not." And it was 80 miles out in the desert. And I remember that Uber bill being $238.
Dude, now that would be way more.
Way more, right? So they took us from like wherever we were, like a Holiday Inn that we were staying in, to the middle of the desert. 80 miles in the middle of the desert. Huge Uber bill. The guy drops us off, and I was just like, I will never financially recover from this. But it was cool. So wait, so well, go ahead. What?
You had to pay it?
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. And so it was. I was out there, and it's really cool. So it's in the middle of nowhere, and they built this entire western town. Like they actually built it. It wasn't how you see in like old movies where it was just like a piece of like big cardboard wood and with a stand. They built these 3-dimensional buildings and churches and everything, and they built it kind of like the way they built it when we talked about Speed 2, when they built all those 3D buildings with like nothing inside them so they could be destroyed by the cruise ship, right?
Yeah.
So they built these things, these western saloons and bars and buildings so that they could easily blow them up or do whatever. But apparently that town shot so many westerns there. I wonder if Tombstone was one of the, because I could have physically been walking on the set of Tombstone if Tombstone was shot in that fake town.
A lot of ifs. A lot of ifs in that
A lot of ifs, ands, or buts, man. But I thought it was really cool for the time being. And when you walk on there, you feel like you're in the fucking western, except for all the like the actor trailers to your left. But whatever.
And so at this point, Wyatt Earp is like, this is a misdemeanor. If we go down there, people are going to die.
You find it funny that people just fucking shoot themselves in the middle or shoot each other in the middle of the streets, but he's so like he's trying to like abide by the law.
Well, it's funny that after this, Virgil and Virgil's wife are pissed at him because Virgil loses his arm, and they're like, "Not now, Wyatt." And he's like, "What do you want me to do?" Virgil, this was your fucking idea, man.
Yeah,
like, you lost your arm because of yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Also, did you like how those women were like almost killed? So the gunman comes in through the door, shoots the gun, and then leaves. And they all just, none of them are hurt, but they all just like sit back down on the couch like, wow, that's a close one, ladies, huh?
Yeah. So the OK Corral shootout happens. One of the guys, Billy Claiborne, is played by a man named Wyatt Earp.
The third.
I don't know.
It was the grandson, right?
Dude, if you're going to do internet research, why don't you fucking not half-ass it and just guess? He is the 5th cousin of the real Wyatt Earp.
Oh, I thought he was the grandson because I didn't do any research on it. The credits said Wyatt Earp the third, and I just assumed it was his grandson.
So, honestly, pretty cool little trivia there. I mean, Wyatt Earp, the real one. They're both real, but the one.
How do you enjoy being his cousin and being like, you're not the real one.
You're not the fucking real Wyatt Earp, my guy. But the original Wyatt Earp, got involved with the movie, so this kind of obviously makes sense. So Ike runs away. There's also, they sort of allude to this famous photo of Wyatt Earp's wife. She's getting like I guess this is considered like a scantily clad photo of her being all in black, but it's for the sheriff because she's like his lady at the time.
Who
I
are we
don't know.
talking about? The new wife, the future wife?
Josephine, yeah, Josephine.
Oh, okay.
She's
I
getting
okay.
an all in black photo, and I guess later on the sheriff is like showing it to his friends, which is not cool. After this, Billy, Jason Priestley, yells at them and he's like, if I was a stronger man, I'd kill you right now or whatever. And Wyatt Earp is like, all they did was make fun of that fucking guy. Like, I don't understand this. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was crazy too. Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but during the shooting, right before they started shooting, they're all doing like these super close-ups on all these guys, right?
Yeah.
And Val Kilmer and Thomas Hayden Church like share a look right before the shootout. That's when like Kurt Russell's like, "Oh my god, they're gonna initiate it, right?"
This is like, oh shit.
Oh shit. So when Val Kilmer and they're all doing the close-ups on there, it looks at Thomas Hayden Church. Val Kilmer winks at him.
Yeah.
That was improvised by Val Kilmer. And they're like, no, don't do that. But then in the editing, they were like, no, use the wink. Like that's good as shit. But that's kind of what I mean. That's like Val Kilmer bringing his own thing to Doc Holliday. Just he keeps making Doc Holliday more and more bad. I'm surprised Kurt Russell wasn't like, slow your roll, Val. This is my fucking movie, you know?
It also it does change. Well, I think Russell realized that Doc Holliday is the coolest character in this movie. But it does change that scene in that you can say Thomas Hayden Church pulls his gun because he sees the wink. He's like, "Oh fuck, this guy's gonna
Right.
kill me."
Right. But you could say the wink was the instigator.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm saying. It's kind of what I said. So after this, we get drunk Ringo saying, like, "Do any of you have the guts to play for blood?" And then we get
I
the
want your blood and I want your soul.
we get the "I'm your Huckleberry" line. I did not realize this, but after he says this line in this movie, he then in The Saint says the line in Czech. In Alexander, he says the line in Greek. In At First Sight, he reads it written in Braille in a book he's reading. And then in the movie Red Planet that came out in 2000, Val Kilmer speaks the line in a made up Martian dialect created for the movie.
I'm your Huckleberry?
Yes.
In
In
all
all
of those
those in
movies?
all those movies. I never knew that.
I didn't know that. Okay, do you know what it means?
I'm your Huckleberry. It means like I'll shoot you. If you're gonna do the Hucklebearer thing, that was a fake thing on the internet for a while. That is not real at all.
No, that's not real. That's not real. I'm your Huckleberry actually comes from like a medieval thing, right? Where they used to like bethrow Huckleberry on your sword and whatever. But what it means is like I'm the guy for the job. So he's like, I'm your Huckleberry. He's like, oh, you want to fight? Boy, I'm your man. Like
Yeah,
I'll fucking fight you.
I think context clues most people could figure out that he's like, yes, I'll do it.
I don't know, because isn't it like, didn't you feel like, damn, I'm your Huckleberry? It's like, well, I'm your Tom Sawyer boy. Like, what do you want?
Well, so there one guy says in the OK Corral fight, I'm gonna fucking kill you now. And he says, you're a daisy if you do.
Right.
And one thing I read, someone was like, that can either be interpreted as like, wow, you're the man if you're able to kill me. And the other is, if you shoot at me, you're a daisy, as in like you're dead. They're gonna plant daisies over your body.
I
I
like
think
that one.
that second one does not make sense though, because at the end, when he shoots Ringo in the fucking head, he says, "You're not a daisy. You're not a daisy. You're not a daisy." You know what I mean? Like, so I think
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's true. You know what's cool though is back to the Latin speaking scene is when he is flipping the gun around.
yeah.
What? What's
It's
so
like,
funny?
back to the Latin. If you could let me quote it in the original text again.
No. That scene where he's spinning the gun around, right?
Yeah.
And then Val had to really practice with spinning the little tin cup around. The actor, who's the actor's name
Michael
that
Biehn.
plays? Okay, that plays Ringo.
Yes.
He says that they had to shave down his Colt so that it's smooth, so he could do it real fast. And then it was like not a real Colt, obviously, so it was weighed perfectly so he would do it. But he was like, I never got with Val because Val just fucking did it with a cup and that cup had nothing special happen to it. But they had to do my anyways. So he's spinning the revolver around being a show off, and it's showing the reaction of like Kurt Russell and Josephine and Billy Zane being like, "Oh, it's fabulous," right?
Yeah.
It only shows one reaction of Doc Holliday looking at him spinning the gun around. And what does he do? He looks down at the holster and he looks back up in his eyes. And what I read was that they showed that one reaction shot of Doc Holliday doing that because he was gauging how fast Ringo was with the draw. And that's why he could get a one up on him later on, is because he knew how fast he was going to draw it.
Well, and how confident he was too,
And
right?
and how confident it was. So he was like, all right, if I do it this way, I could pull my gun faster than him. That's why he didn't, because he held the gun up to his chest when he went to like fake shoot Doc, right? So that's why Doc shoots him at the hip, because he's like, the hip's faster than bringing it up to your chest.
All great stuff. You know,
all
that was
great shit.
I'm very proud of you on this one.
Thank you.
So also there's this Curly Joe, Curly Bill, Curly Billy Bob, whatever.
Curly Billy Bob Thornton.
So he stops Ringo from getting into a gunfight with Val, and you can tell like he's the smart one, and he has this line where he says, "I hate to see what becomes of this outfit when Ringo's in charge." And then it's like, then we get that. Then we get Ringo in charge like very soon after.
Yeah.
So we get Virgil getting shot. He loses his arm. We already talked about that. Then McAllister joins. He quits the Cowboys. Right after that, it feels like all this happens in the same night, right? Virgil gets shot. McAllister, who played by Rooker, quits the Cowboys. Paxton gets shot in the back and dies. Apparently, there was like a 2.5 month difference between when Virgil got shot and when Morgan gets shot, Bill Paxton's character.
Oh, that all felt like the same fucking night.
It is in the movie. It is not in real life.
Oh, okay. So you're saying in the movie it's supposed to feel like the same night?
Yeah, it's truncated.
Was it the same night that the girls were shot at too?
I didn't read if that even is real. So
right. But it just felt like all in the same night with
it does, right?
It
was all
the rain and everything.
But it honestly doesn't make your brother just got shot and is losing your arm. You're like, gotta go get a fucking pool game in.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, hopefully no one shoots me in the ass while I do this.
I should just keep my back to the fucking door.
Also, I didn't get why all the guys were in the bar and all the girls were in the like the lounge area. It's like, wouldn't you're being attacked? Wouldn't it be smart to stay all together?
I think it's because so much time is passing here and there. You're letting your guard down, right? Like if you're attacking the Earps, you're not doing it like, all right, let's just go like same night, man. Let's just go right back at him. So the fact that they like shortened the time period for everything does make it to where like logically things don't seem to make as much sense. Like why is their guard down? So why is he playing pool? Literally, why are your brother's losing his arm and you're just like, you know what I can do with 2 arms? I can play pool. I'm gonna go do that.
You know what I don't to like fathom is, and maybe it's just like what came first, chicken or the egg situation, but when you're writing a screenplay and you're writing a western and you're giving your characters cool names, right?
Yeah,
this is a true story, so their names are actually Wyatt Earp and he goes by Doc Holliday. Those are not made up names, but they sound like the perfect made up Western names to give your characters.
They're great names.
But then it's like, it makes me think like, do all like nonfiction or fiction, do all fiction character names from Westerns, are they trying to be as cool as Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, right? Like sounding and sound wise?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, you got to put some thought into your cool cowboy name. That is for sure, right? Like, you can't just fucking half-ass it. Especially Billy the Kid's Taken. That's kind of one of the best, right? Wyatt Earp, it's hard to be like, is that great because of what he did, or is that great because, you know what I mean? Is it just naturally great?
Well, also, I'm just looking up like cowboy names, like real ones, right? And you have Rooster Cogburn, which I'm like, okay, that sounds fake. Then you have Annie Oakley, which sounds just cool as shit. And then of course you have like Butch Cassidy, Billy the Kid. And so it's just like kind of like I'm thinking it's a chicken egg situation where there's already cool cowboy names really in existence. So when you write a fake cowboy name, you better fucking make it cool.
You better nail it. So I love this part. Tells Curly it's over. And then he says, well, bye. Powers Booth is amazing in this. Like, he is so great with not enough to do. And then he tells them to go to the train station. Stillwell's like, hey, where's Wyatt? He's right behind you. And then tell them I'm coming and hell's coming with me is such an amazing line. He like screams it at the camera.
I feel like that's been parodied or referenced because that's like such an iconic line.
Correct. So, montage of killings, as I described earlier, and then we get the shoot at the river. He's caught in a crossfire. Basically, feels like he's just fucked up, and they're like, "You need to fix this now." So this scene almost seems fake, but apparently, it is real. In real life, Wyatt runs out into the river, walks straight up to Curly Bill, and just shoots him in the head. Then turn and shoots this other guy played by the Northern Exposure guy
Yeah.
and shoots him, Barnes. And Barnes apparently survived for 2 days, went to somewhere and just told people what happened, that this dude just fucking walked out as everyone's shooting at him and killed Curly in the middle of the river.
Badass.
Crazy. Like, that's why it's like, that's part of the reason this movie is so cool is like they didn't really have to make up too much about it. Like, it's like you have a good story already there.
You think like they went around for like 20 minutes and just killed all the other cowboy gang?
But it was called his vengeance ride. It was him and like,
Oh, it was real. Okay.
that ride, they went and like they fucking took out the cowboys
I stand corrected.
after they killed his brothers. They're like, no, this shit's
So,
we're
okay,
done.
this might be a super stupid question, but I will ask it anyways because I am known on this podcast to ask super stupid questions. I will abide. Was the term cowboy like was it already a thing, or did the cowboy gang take the term cowboy, or did people who just rode horses around in the West were they also known as cowboys? Because it's very confusing being like, I'm a cowboy, but I'm not part of the cowboys. But I myself am a cowboy. Or am I misunderstanding thinking at that time cowboy gangs were the only people called cowboys out there, and then maybe later on a Western rider of a horse was just called a cowboy?
You know how there was the band called The Band?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this was.
Oh, okay.
And everyone else is like, you fucking dicks, really?
Dicks. Yeah, you're okay. All right, I got you.
So after this, there's this really cool part where the guys like Turkey Creek, Jim Bob, or whatever those people are named.
Sure.
They're like, why are you doing this? And he's like, Wyatt Earp is my friend. And he sounds like fucking Forrest Gump saying that. Wyatt Earp is my friend. And then the other guy's like, I have lots of friends. And Val Kilmer says, I don't. I keep going in between Doc Holliday and Val Kilmer.
I mean, I keep going between Wyatt Earp and Kurt Russell, but I mean, who cares? That I don't line, I was just like, fuck yeah. I was like so pumped. I was like, God damn, that's good.
So we get this, a lot of stuff happens here and there, but we're going to go over it quickly. But Priestley quits because Billy Zane is killed, right?
Yeah.
The Breckenridge guy. So there were a bunch of additional scenes of Billy Breckenridge that were filmed but removed from the final cut. So after Billy Zane was murdered by Claiborne and Wes Fuller, there's a scene where Breckenridge went and hunted both of them down and then took their corpses to Wyatt and warned them that, hey, Ringo was coming after them. So Jason Priestley was supposed to have like a much bigger role in this movie.
That was in the movie?
Yeah, these were scenes that were filmed.
Oh, that sucks because that would have been awesome to watch.
Yeah. And so he was like, oh, I'll take care of Tombstone when you're gone. And a lot of people think these were cuts because like of the real Billy Breckenridge's like remarks about Earps being like thieves and
so they didn't want him to look a badass. I gotcha.
But it's like, I don't know, why does Kurt Russell love fucking Wyatt Earp so much and that he's just like, no, we're not even gonna. So some of these scenes were included in the 2002 director's cut, which I think is you can only get on like the DVD. It's not even on the new 4K. So it's like I sold that DVD copy. I gotta buy that back. I gotta find
You
it.
gotta go find
Find
it.
that.
You know what's really cool? It's like the movie's called Tombstone off the town, and I really did not know that. And as soon as I figured out, I was like, that's kind of lame. Until I realized like that's an actual town, and it still is an actual town. But I thought this movie was called Tombstone because of how many bodies they put in the ground.
Did you notice that one tombstone in the beginning?
Which one?
As they're going into town, there's a tombstone that's at the front, and it says, "Here lies Lester Moore, 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more."
Oh yeah, yeah.
That is a real tombstone,
Oh,
and
that's cool.
there's like a real story behind that, like that guy, like why he got shot and why it was for. And
Did all the tombstones rhyme back then?
I think they just
Like,
were
was
like,
it's like, hey, when I die, I need you to write a limerick on my headstone.
I think they just his name was Lester Moore, and they saw an opportunity and they took it. I think
Okay.
that's what happened.
Dude, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like one of those made up headstones when you're in line for the haunted mansion.
That's something you could buy at Party City if those still existed.
Exactly. You just put it in your yard. Yeah.
So Ringo's in charge. He kills McMasters and brings the body, and he's like, "Hey, we're doing this, just me and you." So there's this scene with Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, and he's like, he's like, "What does he want?" He's like, "He wants revenge for being born." And then Wyatt Earp's like, "I can't beat him, can I?" And Doc's like, "I'm too sick to go."
Oh, so good.
And then the reveal,
Oh, so good.
"I'm your huckleberry." And then like, "Ringo,
Oh,
it looks
just the
like
way
someone
he's
walked
turned,
over your grave."
just the way he's turned around, like he's turned back against him. He hears him coming up, and he's like, "I didn't think you'd show." And it's fucking Doc Holiday, man.
And then he says, "Oh, you said we were fighting for blood." And he said, "I was fooling. I wasn't." And then he shows the badge that he made Wyatt give him, and he says, "It's legal. Like,
Yeah.
this murder I'm about to commit is legal."
Oh my god. And then I give you the whole shoot from the hip, not the chest thing.
So then the music just gets so loud after he gets shot, and he's like, just, "Come on, come on." And like, he's just like living in the moment. And then he just screams at him, "You're no Daisy. You're no Daisy at all." And
I
then
wonder how far someone can actually walk with a gunshot to their brain.
I don't know. Have you seen a meme of the, "Oh, I wasn't quite as sick as I made out to be"?
No.
Oh, there was one a while back. It was like when your husband's in bed all day, and then when you lay down, he like he makes a move.
That's good. I was thinking that that meme could come around like COVID time, like be
Yeah.
an absolute killer around that time.
Absolute killer. So in reality, Johnny Ringo probably did not die at the hands of Doc Holliday. His body was found with a single gunshot wound to the temple. He had a gun on his finger that was missing one round, uh, and his like horse had like ran off.
So I'm gonna butcher this, and I didn't really read much into it because I was mostly focusing on like facts about Doc Holliday, not so much Ringo. But I did see somewhere that someone said that way later on they were digging up a gravestone, like digging up a grave, or they found like documents that said, you know, I lived this kind of life. It was just kind of a seemingly random guy back in the West, and at the end of it, he goes, "I'm the one who killed Ringo."
Yeah, there was another thing I read. It was like one of the cowboys went to try and kill this guy, and he's like, "That's the guy that killed Johnny Ringo."
Yes, something like that. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, that's." I mean, I knew this movie took liberty, but I was like, "I'm gonna remember it this way," because Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, just getting the one up on this guy is so good. And like I said, the beginning established it so well that you just want these guys to die.
So, correct. The scene is so the penultimate scene is so poignant where he's like, "If you ever were a friend to me, leave now. Like, go get that actress. Go live your life. Do not sit here with me as I die." It's such a great scene. And then he goes to get Josephine, and he's like, I don't know how we're going to do anything. I have no money, but I'll just love you. And she's like, my parents are rich, baby. It's fine.
Yeah, and they're at like some like really big party at some mansion, and they're like, he's like, which I thought was cool, like a cool comic. He's like, I want to do something with you that I didn't have the nerve, or that you really wanted me to do the first time we met. She was like, bang, I know. And he was like, no, dance.
I thought you were going to talk about that dumb snowman you kept talking about.
The snowman that looked super fake, like you bought at Party City and then set in front of the house and full of snow and everything like that. That snowman.
I don't know. You're the one who talked about it.
The kids were like pretending to pack it in like it's a real snowman, but it looked fake as hell. No, it made me so mad. Okay, so the production designer for this movie, I was like, what actual hack is the set designer for this movie that decided to buy this snowman and make it look fake and make people think, oh, this is a real snowman? Would you like to know the name of the production designer of this movie, David?
I would like you to just tell me, please.
Her name is Catherine Hardwicke. And in 1993, she was the production designer for Tombstone. However, in the early 2000s, she is the director of a little-known movie called Twilight.
Honestly, the best of the series is that first one.
And I don't know if I've never seen this movie, but have you ever seen The Lords of Dogtown?
No.
Heath Ledger?
I know the movie. I just haven't seen it.
She directed that too.
That's a good one. That's a beloved movie.
So,
Honestly, of the Twilight movies, I've seen all of them. They're all not great. The first one is the best, most well done one. And then there's one scene in the last movie that's pretty fucking awesome.
okay, yeah, that scene is pretty fucking awesome. I think we've both seen all the Twilights, and it is, yeah. But yeah, I will forever remember that the production designer, the hack production designer for Tombstone, is the director of Twilight.
First of all, because of one snowman, the rest of the movie looks great.
It took me out of the movie completely.
You're a fucking loser. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon, and I finally watched Tombstone.